My child, the delay you are experiencing is not a sign that you have been forgotten. It may be the very period needed for what has been hidden to come into the light, and for what is not upright to lose every opportunity to reach you. I, Michael, have come to remind you to remain calm, because not every pressure you feel means that you are failing. There are times when everything appears motionless. Answers arrive more slowly than you expected. Plans continually change, and doors that seem to have opened suddenly close again. You once looked upon those moments with anxiety, but now I want you to see them with wisdom. What is being delayed may not be your blessing. It may be danger being held back. There are steps you cannot yet take quickly because the road ahead is being cleared. There are decisions that cannot yet be completed because the whole truth has not been revealed. If everything happened according to your impatience, you might have entered a place that appeared beautiful outwardly while concealing motives that were not pure. You have felt a quiet pressure that you could not name. There were days when you wondered why you felt uneasy, even though nothing serious seemed to be happening outwardly. Certain conversations caused you to sense that something was not right, yet you did not have enough evidence to explain it. Some people asked too many questions, watched too closely, or tried to investigate parts of your life they had no right to enter. Yet I do not want you to live in suspicion, nor do I want you to treat everyone as a threat. True discernment does not make you panic. It helps you slow down, observe more clearly, and protect what is private with composure. Do not rush to accuse. Do not answer in anger. And do not create stories in your mind that steal your peace. Pay attention to consistent actions, verifiable words, and practical signs. What is true does not need to be defended through chaos. When light appears, what has been concealed will reveal itself without requiring you to sacrifice your peace in order to uncover it. Perhaps there were people who believed they would find something in your past that could diminish your worth. They may have examined your mistakes, revived chapters you no longer live in, or interpreted your silence in a way that worked against you. But, my child, someone who searches with an unhealthy motive will often expose themselves through the way they behave. When they only want to prove you wrong, they will ignore every truth that does not support what they have already decided to believe. When they attempt to control the story told about you, the contradictions in their own story will gradually become visible. Therefore, you do not need to panic over rumors or conversations taking place around you. You also do not need to hurry to explain every detail of your life to people who have already decided not to listen. Let the consistency of your life become your answer. Years of integrity, responsible choices, and a peaceful attitude will speak more clearly than every argument you might enter. I want you to understand that protection does not always appear as a wall you can see. Sometimes it takes the form of a cancelled meeting, a person unexpectedly withdrawing, information arriving late, or a plan that cannot be completed on schedule. You once felt disappointed because you thought you were being obstructed, when perhaps you were actually being protected from an unclear agreement, an unreliable relationship, or a decision being pushed forward too quickly. Therefore, do not curse every delay. Use it as an opportunity to examine what you are pursuing. Do the people involved respect your boundaries? Do their promises agree with their actions? Are you being pressured to decide because you fear losing the opportunity? What is right may require courage, but it will not demand that you surrender clarity. A good door will not require you to ignore every warning sign merely so that you may enter it. While you wait, your assignment is not to discover every person who might oppose you. It is to keep your life free from anything that would force you to live in fear. Put unfinished matters in order. Protect your private information. And be careful about what you share. Do not give your deepest stories to someone who has proven only their curiosity, but has not yet demonstrated loyalty. Do not announce a plan while it is still in a fragile stage. Certain seeds grow best in silence. Not because they are shameful, but because they need time to take root before facing strong winds. At the same time, live transparently in the things that matter. If you have made a mistake, correct it. If there is a responsibility you need to fulfill, complete it well. The strongest protection is not found in hiding everything. It is found in refusing to give anyone the ability to control you through dishonesty. Do not allow the fear of being examined to turn you into someone who is always defensive. You do not need to become cold in order to be safe. Nor must you separate yourself from everyone in order to avoid pain. You only need to learn the difference between healthy openness and unnecessary exposure. Some people deserve to know your story because they have remained with respect, kept their word, and refused to use your weaknesses as weapons. Others draw near only because they want to collect something for their own advantage. You do not need to hate them. You simply need not give them access. A boundary is not punishment. It is a locked door opened by trust that has been built. Not by sweet words spoken in a single moment. When you preserve your boundaries calmly, people with good intentions will respect them, while those with other motives will often leave or expose themselves through the way they react. At times, you believed that silence meant no one could see what you were enduring. You waited for an answer, for vindication, or for a sign that the matter would not end in injustice. But truth does not need to appear immediately in order to remain true. Some things must be observed over time, because only time reveals who is consistent and who is playing a role. If everything were resolved too quickly, you might see only outward appearances without recognizing the root beneath them. A pause forces everyone to reveal how they behave when they cannot control the outcome. A person of integrity will remain composed, while someone who seeks only power may become impatient, contradictory, or expose their own intentions. Therefore, allow time to do its work. Do not run ahead of the truth through hurried conclusions. I also want you to release the need to make everyone understand you. Some people listen only to find something they can oppose. If you give them further explanations, they will simply have more material to distort. Say what needs to be said clearly. Preserve important evidence when a matter concerns your work or rights, and then allow upright actions to continue speaking on your behalf. If there is a real danger to your safety, finance, or reputation, seek trustworthy support and deal with it wisely. Faith does not ask you to ignore reality. Peace does not mean passivity. You can keep your heart free from hatred while still taking practical steps to protect yourself. What I do not want is for you to act out of panic and unintentionally weaken your own position. In the end, my child, remember that what is built upon deception rarely stands for long. You do not need to tear it down with your own hands. Focus on building what is true in your life, because the brighter the light becomes, the fewer places darkness has to hide. This delay may be teaching you patience, discernment, and freedom from pressure. What seems to be obstructing you may actually be protecting you from a greater mistake. Those who once searched for your weaknesses may discover only evidence of your growth while exposing their own motives in the process. I, Michael, remind you not to live like someone being hunted, but to walk like someone who knows they are protected. Keep your words clean, your actions upright, your boundaries clear, and your heart at peace. You do not need to win through noise. At the proper time, truth will stand on its own. What needs to end will end. And you will understand that today's pause was never rejection. It was quiet protection, leading you toward a safer, clearer, and more worthy path. You have always felt different because you were never created to dissolve into places where people must trade away their authenticity in order to gain attention. For a long time, you sensed that there were spaces where you could not truly belong. Even when you tried to smile, remain silent, or adjust yourself so that you would not appear out of place. You watched others enter crowded circles with ease, receive praise effortlessly, and become the center of attention, while you wondered why you always seemed to stand at a distance. But beloved, this difference is not a flaw that needs to be corrected. It is evidence that you were preserved from places that love only outward appearances and have no ability to value inward depth. I did not allow you to become accustomed to living by the gaze of others, because the journey prepared for you requires a heart that is not controlled by applause, does not change according to praise or criticism, and does not lower its worth merely to be permitted to remain in an unsuitable place. You were not called to compete for what has already been appointed for you. What truly belongs to you will not require you to chase it in desperation, prove that you are better than someone else, or continually perform an inauthentic version of yourself in order to be chosen. There are things you may gain through effort, yet keeping them will exhaust you because they were never designed to accompany you in the first place. In contrast, what has been rightly prepared will recognize you even when you do not display yourself. It will see your quietness without calling it dull, see your caution without calling it weakness, and recognize your depth without demanding that you become loud. You will not need to distort your nature or abandon your peace in order to keep it. A true connection does not force you to live in fear that one imperfect day will cause you to be replaced. It allows you to feel seen without being examined, cherished without having to strain, and fully present without apologizing for being yourself. Because what is about to enter your life carries deep value. It cannot be born from haste. I know that many times you became impatient while watching others easily receive what you were still waiting for. You wondered whether you had missed an opportunity, whether your quiet nature had made it impossible for the right person to notice you, or whether your silent seasons had caused you to be forgotten. But your waiting was never empty. During that time, I was purifying your desires, healing expectations that had been wounded, and teaching you the difference between being noticed and being understood. If this had arrived too early, you might have mistaken intensity for love, beautiful promises for devotion, or the feeling of being pursued for genuine appreciation. The slow process helped you become less vulnerable to things that glitter but possess no foundation. Somewhere else, the person you are about to meet has also traveled through a journey of their own. They have stood among many people, heard many sweet words, and received attention from those who wanted access only to the favorable parts of their life. Some were attracted by status. Some came because of what they could receive. And some admired an image without ever possessing enough patience to know the real person behind it. Therefore, even though many faces appeared, the emptiness within them remained unfilled. They may have stood among laughter and still felt lonely, received praise yet still felt unknown, and possessed many choices while finding nowhere for their heart to rest. Attention may make a person happy for a moment, but it cannot replace sincerity. Compliments may make a room feel lively, but they cannot create the safety for which that person has quietly longed. This is why what will cause them to recognize you is not outward display, but the peace you carry. You were formed in seasons no one witnessed, where you learn to remain steady without applause, to love without losing boundaries, and to listen instead of waiting only for your turn to speak. You passed through days when your sincerity was not returned, connections that made you doubt yourself, and circumstances that forced you to choose between keeping another person and preserving your peace. Those experiences caused pain, but they also brought maturity. You are no longer attracted for long by chaos disguised as passion. You no longer interpret continual instability as proof of a deep connection. You have learned that what is good does not always overwhelm you. Sometimes it arrives very gently, yet brings a steadiness you have never experienced before. You may wonder why someone who has lived through many experiences, received much attention, or moved through spaces you have never entered would ever look in your direction. You may unconsciously compare yourself with the people they have known and conclude that you are not impressive enough. But, beloved, they do not need another person who knows how to impress. They need someone who will not turn them into a means of personal gain. They are not searching for more noise. They are searching for a presence in which they do not need to remain guarded. That does not come from a perfect appearance or carefully prepared words. It comes from the stability you built during the days when you had to raise yourself again, from the compassion you preserved after disappointment, and from your ability to see people truthfully rather than looking only at what they can bring into your life. Your difficult past has not removed your right to receive something good. On the contrary, what you overcame taught you how to hold a gift without suffocating it through fear. You know what it feels like to be overlooked, so you will not easily make another person feel invisible. You know what it feels like to wonder whether someone is sincere, so you understand the value of clarity. You have lived within connections that required you to sacrifice your peace. So now you know how to protect what is healthy without becoming cold. Your wounds do not make you less valuable. When they are healed properly, they become places where wisdom is born. Because of this, you can love without controlling, draw near without becoming dependent, and give without losing yourself. Yet when this connection begins to form, do not immediately place upon it every unfinished dream you have carried. Allow everything to reveal itself according to a natural rhythm. Do not abandon discernment simply because something feels special. A right connection is not afraid of time, does not force you to decide in panic, and does not cause you continually to betray what you sense deeply within. Pay attention to how this person treats you when no one is watching, how they respond to your boundaries, how their words agree with their actions, and how their presence affects your peace. What is good will not merely move your emotions. It will help you become steadier, more honest, and freer. You do not need to remove every barrier in one day, but neither should you build walls so high that no sincere person can enter. Allow me to guide you step by step. Because this meeting is not coming to rescue you from your own life, but to build a meaningful road beside you. You do not need someone else to complete your worth, because that worth existed before they appeared. The right person will not come to give you a new identity, but to recognize the beauty cultivated throughout your quiet years. They will not love you because you know how to please them at every moment. They will value you because you bring truth into a world filled with carefully constructed images. You also will not be attracted only by what they show outwardly. You will see the weariness behind their strength, the loneliness behind admiration, and the desire to live sincerely behind the roles they once had to carry. Therefore, stop treating your difference as a burden. What once made you feel out of place will become the sign that helps the right person recognize you. The quietness others misunderstood will become the place where they find rest. The depth that once made it difficult for you to fit in will become what keeps the connection from being swept away by temporary emotion. Continue living honestly, caring for your peace, and refusing to leave your good nature merely so that you may be noticed sooner. What belongs to you will not lose its way, nor can someone else take it through outward display. At the right time, it will draw near with clarity, without confusion, and without requiring you to become someone else. Then you will understand that every season of waiting did not make you late. It prepared you to recognize what is true, receive it with maturity, and preserve it with a heart that has learned to value peace above all the noise of the world. I have come to end the cycle that caused you to carry the wounds of the past as though they were your own fault. Because true healing begins when the light of understanding enters the place once covered by confusion. For many years, you may have looked back upon the things your mother did, the words she spoke, the times she remained silent, or the moments when she could not give you the tenderness you needed, and wondered what you had done wrong. You thought that if you had been more obedient, less sensitive, stronger, or easier to love, perhaps everything would have been different. But today, I want you to put down that painful conclusion. You were not the cause of your mother's distance, anger, emotional closure, or instability. Many of the responses she gave you were formed by wounds that existed long before you entered her life. When I invite you to see your mother more deeply, I am not asking you to deny what happened. I am not telling you to call hurt love or to accept actions that were wrong. Your pain was real. Your tears were real. And the emptiness you felt during the years when you needed protection was also real. Yet that truth is not the whole story. Behind the mother who hurt you may be a woman who grew up deprived of affection, who was forced to become strong before she understood what comfort felt like, and who learned to hide her emotions because no one gave her a safe place in which to express them. She may have given you what she herself once received, not because you deserved only that much, but because she did not know how to give what she had never received. This understanding does not remove your mother's responsibility, but it separates you from the burden you carried on her behalf. You no longer need to ask what was lacking in you that prevented her from loving you in the way you needed. You no longer need to repair yourself in order to gain the approval absent from your childhood. You were simply a child opening your heart to receive whatever the adults around you gave. When what was given carried coldness, blame, or inconsistency, you unconsciously believed that the problem must be within you. Beloved, that belief was born from pain, It was never the truth about you. You were never too difficult to love, too sensitive to be heard, or too lacking in value to be protected. You simply lived in a situation where the person caring for you had not received enough healing to respond fully to your needs. I know these words may reach a very deep place within you, where a child is still waiting for your mother to return. Look into your eyes and say that none of it was your fault. Perhaps part of you still hopes she will change. Acknowledge what happened and give you the apology you have awaited for so long. That desire is not wrong, because you longed for justice and love. But I do not want your freedom to remain bound forever to whether your mother recognizes her mistakes. Some people can face truth only when they themselves are ready. And you cannot force a heart to open by continuing to stand before a closed door. Your healing does not need to wait until someone else fully understands the pain they caused. Therefore, I am leading you into a deeper understanding, where you do not merely try to feel better for a moment, but begin to see the entire story with clarity. In the past, you may have told the story of your life through the lens of deprivation, that you were not chosen, not worth remaining beside, or required to please others in order to be loved. Those stories followed you into relationships, causing you to fear abandonment, fear setting boundaries, and fear speaking about your own needs. But when you recognize where those beliefs began, you also begin to recognize that they have no authority over your future. What your mother could not give is not evidence that you are unworthy of receiving it. Her inability is not the measure of your value. I want you to allow yourself to grieve what was missing without turning that grief into a sentence against yourself. Tavali, you have the right to feel sorrow because you were not held when you needed to be held, defended when you needed protection, or heard when your heart was filled with fear. You do not need to rush into forgiveness merely to prove that you have matured. Forgiveness is not placing a beautiful covering over something that was wrong, nor is it reopening the door to behavior that continues to hurt you. Forgiveness is the process of no longer allowing the past to control every reaction you have in the present. It is reaching a place where you can remember without reliving every old feeling. Understand your mother while maintaining necessary boundaries, and choose peace without denying the truth. I see the part of you that resists this understanding because it fears that compassion toward your mother would betray your own pain. That part wants you to hold tightly to anger, because, for a long time, anger was the only thing that allowed you to feel powerful. I do not condemn you for this. Anger once built a wall that protected you from further harm, but the wall that helped you survive one season may become the place that imprisons you in the next. You do not have to tear everything down in one day. Begin only by opening a small space through which light can enter, so that you may see that compassion and boundaries can exist together. You can understand why your mother became who she became, while still saying that what she did caused pain. You can hope for her healing without continuing to place yourself in an unsafe environment. I was with you in every moment when you felt that no one understood. I heard the sighs you hid behind an ordinary appearance, and I saw the nights when your body lay still while your mind was filled with unanswered questions. I know you watched other families and wondered why closeness seemed to come so naturally to them, while you had to struggle merely to feel acknowledged. I do not dismiss anything you experienced, but now I am calling you out of the role of a child who must continually wait for others to confirm their worth. You have grown, and you are learning to become a safe place for yourself. You can treat your emotions gently, care for the needs that were once ignored. And choose people who know how to respect your presence. When you stop blaming yourself for the wounds your mother never healed, a new door will open. You will no longer react to every silence as though you are about to be abandoned. You will no longer need to work endlessly to make someone stay. You will no longer accept emotional coldness simply because it feels familiar. Clarity will help you understand that healthy love does not force you continually to wonder whether you have value. It does not require you to lower your voice, conceal your feelings, or tolerate disrespect in order to prove loyalty. When the story within you is rewritten by truth, the choices around you will also change. You will begin moving toward places of peace, consistency, and sincerity, instead of being drawn back into old cycles simply because they feel familiar. Beloved, I am not leading you back into memory in order to cause more pain, but to help you recover the parts of yourself that remained trapped there. I want you to step forward with the understanding that what happened does not define who you are today. You are not the criticism your mother spoke in anger, not the silence she used when she did not know how to communicate, and not the expectations you were unable to fulfill. You are someone learning to love without losing yourself, to show compassion without carrying another person's burden, and to look upon the past with kindness without giving it authority over the future. Trust me in this journey. I am not minimizing your pain. I am loosening every thread that tied you to it. When those threads are removed, you will realize that you have always been worthy of the gentleness, respect, and peaceful love your heart has searched for so long.